So this is my sample piece, and believe it or not, this only took maybe 5 minutes to create in steps. So I'll show you all the different steps I'm doing. For this project, just like the previous one, you'll need some watercolors. If you have watercolor palette that your children use, you can use that. Or you can even water down some acrylic paints you may have at home. Some watercolor paper, or any kind of crafting paper that you have, some paint brushes, and some water. Okay, so we're ready to start. So I've wet all of my colors. I just took some paint on my paintbrush and drop a few dots of water on there, and that'll loosen up your watercolors so you'll be able to paint. Get some yellow on there and a little bit of the orange. So what I'm going to do first is create my centers of my flowers. Drop my paintbrush down here and kind of move it around in a circle. And you end up with some pretty flowers on there. You don't have to follow the pattern exactly. Alright, now I'm going to start painting in my stems, which go along the bottom here. And I just am using this paintbrush here. You can use any thinner paintbrush that you might have. Just getting some brown paint. I'm going to start with the brown, and I'm just going to make some little lines on my paper. And again, there's no rhyme or reason. You don't have to follow the same pattern that I'm following. You just want to get the idea of stems in there and grasses. So now I'm going to switch over to a green color. Okay, so you kind of get the idea of what I'm doing here. Okay, so there you see the grasses are painted in a little bit and the dots are there. Now I'm going to do a couple of leaves, and I'm going to get some of the light green, and I'm just going to make like a little oval shape here, and I'm going to highlight or low light on the side with a different color. Okay, and then I'm going to let it dry before I move on to the next step. Okay, now I'm going to come in with some highlights for the centers of the flowers. Some of the light on half of my light yellow, and then some of the orangey color on my paintbrush. And then come back here and just kind of work into that circle a little bit so you can see there's dark and a light. Okay. So that just makes it a little bit more three-dimensional. Next thing I'm going to do is add the flower petal shapes. I'm going to start with the purple, and I've got some really pretty colors of purple on here. Again, I'm going to do dark and light on the same paintbrush, and then I'm just going to come in and paint some oval shapes on here. Bit. Usually the top of the iris is just an oval. And the rest of the flowers I'm just going to do some circular shapes around. So I'm dropping my paintbrush here, and I'm just going to turn it so it makes a little circle, and I'll just repeat that all the way around. Okay. So there you see it's coming into a flower. Kind of looks like a flower now. So I'm just going to fill in the different colors. Alright, I have my flower shapes all painted in now, and I'm going to do some splattering on here. This just gives it like another dimension. Kind of filled up my palette with a couple of the colors really with a lot of water, and I have a stiff bristled brush here. You can see it's kind of So I'm just going to load it up with some of this blue paint and then just flick the paint with my finger onto the painting. Or you can, with your finger, you can flick it on there, and it just adds some colorful dimension to your painting. All right, I'm gonna let this dry and then we'll come back in. All right, now that my painting is dry, I'm gonna come in and do some outlining. Using a purple pen that I have in my house, it has a fine tip on it. Outline all of the petals of each flower, and then in the middle you can make some lowlights in your petal, and I'll just go around each petal of each flower. You end up with some beautiful shapes, I think. When you're all done, then I just cut it into 4 equal parts. I signed my name on each one because I'm going to give these as gifts, and that's it. It's a pretty easy, another easy watercolor project for you to work on, and I hope you enjoyed it.